Hey guys, we have some more big astrology going on to sort of open our week this week, coming right on the heels of this very powerful full moon total lunar eclipse that we had going on Sunday into Monday yesterday. And today we are opening with Mars coming into an exact conjunction with Neptune in the sky. So in my report today, we are going to be putting an emphasis on Mars and Neptune, and that is also because this aspect is not only, coming to exact alignment in the sky today, but we also have a moon in Sagittarius, which is ruled by Jupiter, who is currently in the sign of Aries, which is ruled by Mars. So we're getting this sort of feedback loop going on, pointing right back to that Mars-Neptune conjunction, and that Sag moon is also going to be forming a square to Mars and Neptune in Pisces together. So Mars conjunct Neptune, really the name of the game today going on in terms of the chart as it's presenting. So let's jump into the chart and see what this might mean for us. Welcome back to my channel, everyone. Today is Tuesday, May 17th, 2022. My name is Aubrey, and this is your astrological outlook of the day. And today we are focusing on Mars coming into exact alignment with Neptune in the sign of Pisces. So this aspect is really ruling the day today for a couple of reasons that I alluded to in my intro and I'm about to get into in much more detail. But first of all, I just want to say today we are going to be very careful about taking any type of impulsive action. We may really feel a strong drive in this energy to really set ourselves free from anything that is restricting us from pursuing our passions, pursuing our desires. But in this energy, we are definitely going to want to exercise some restraint in terms of taking any type of, like I just said, spontaneous action. And this is for some reasons that will become apparent as I begin describing this energy. Now, first of all, I want to tell you guys, I took a whole bunch of notes today. So if you see me looking down, I'm referencing my notebook and trying to stay on task because Mercury's retrograde right now, you guys. And when that happens, sometimes I have a tendency of losing track of my thoughts and going off on weird random tangents about stuff. So I am trying to keep myself on track, and therefore I'm utilizing my handy dandy notebook. And if you see me looking down more so than I usually do, it's because I'm looking at these notes that I have taken to keep myself on track. So that's what that is. But anyways, with Mars coming into a conjunction with Neptune. Now, Mars rules the ego, and Neptune essentially rules the breakdown of the ego and how we connect to spirit and sort of fade back into all that is. Well, Mars is really representative of the self and our perception of ourself and the actions and behaviors that are associated with our perception of ourselves, basically. And so when we have these two planets together, a lot of times it can actually cloud or put us in some type of an illusion or delusion or fog, or just have us perceiving our own selves unclearly in one way or another. And because of this, it can also set us up for some type of manipulation, which is why we want to be very careful with any type of spontaneous actions, choices, decisions, just a fire underneath us to act in some type of a way today with this energy. And, it's been operating for the past, week or so. This has been building and it's coming exact today, and it will be waning out throughout the course of this week. So this energy is really a highlight this entire week. And again, because of its tendency to delude our own personal self-perception, it can make us much more susceptible to manipulation, and we just want to be careful with that and not be making big impulsive choices, actions, decisions in this energy. The actions that we do want to be taking in this energy, you guys, is are in regards to seeking our own personal truth, trying to dispel any illusion we may be operating under in regards to our own selves. With Mercury retrograde right now as well, the actions that we're taking in this energy need to be in regards to discovering and implementing and working towards establishing our own personal truth. And, this is not the energy where we necessarily want to be over idealizing the words, thoughts, and opinions of others. Okay, first of all, let's talk about this aspect and the way that it's playing out and what we have going on. First of all, as I have stated several times, Mars is coming into exact alignment with Neptune in the sky today. This is happening at 25 degrees of Pisces. Now, we also today, for the first day of this activation, Mars generally takes 2 days to transit 1 degree. So this is a 2-day aspect. And here we are, day 1 of Mars conjunct Neptune. We have the moon in Sagittarius, you guys. Sagittarius is ruled by the planet Jupiter, who just recently moved into Aries, which is ruled by Mars. So the moon's placement in Sagittarius today is actually supersizing Jupiter. What is going on with this Mars-Neptune transit? And that's because Jupiter's in the sign of Aries. Whenever there is a planet in a sign, we need to look to the ruler of that sign to get a better idea of what is actually going on with that planet in that sign. So right now, with Mars in a conjunction to Neptune in Pisces, Jupiter in the sign of Aries, this in the moon in Sagittarius, ruled by Jupiter, this is telling me that like everything today is pointing to that Mars-Neptune conjunction. We also have the moon in Sagittarius. This is a mutable sign, Pisces, where Jupiter or where Neptune and Mars are today, also a mutable sign, going to be forming a square aspect to Mars and Neptune in conjunction. So not only do we have Mars and Neptune in conjunction in Pisces, we also have the moon in Sagittarius ruled by Jupiter, who is in Aries ruled by Mars, pointing to the emphasis on Mars today in a conjunction with Neptune. And that moon is also going to be forming a square aspect to that conjunction. So this aspect, Mars conjunct Neptune, is truly, again, the highlight, the emphasis, ruling the day for sure. Now, Mars conjunct Neptune, especially with this extra emphasis going on by a Sagittarius moon as well, while we have Jupiter in Aries, is likely to manifest along like 2 distinct, like polarizing lines. Okay, there's sort of like 2 distinct oppositional ways that this energy can potentially manifest. Number 1, the first way that we might experience this energy, it may be igniting this spiritual warrior archetype within us, especially with Jupiter in Aries right now, that just left the sign of Pisces as well and was in a conjunction to Neptune and really was expanding like our spiritual truths and creating this like conscious spiritual awakening and really causing us to want to understand our own spiritual truths and the spiritual truths of this reality from like a much higher level. Jupiter and Neptune coming together in the sign of Pisces, and now Jupiter has moved into the sign of Aries. And so on one hand, this energy could be sort of bringing up the spiritual truths that we may have come to over the course of this past couple months and really like igniting us into action in terms of really aligning us with our own personal truth. And again, like igniting this spiritual warrior archetype within us. We may in this energy feel motivated to act very selflessly out of compassion, empathy, and this high heart octave energy frequency that this spiritual warrior energy can represent. And also this Jupiter in Pisces, now in Jupiter in Aries, pointing to that Mars and Neptune conjunction going on. It may be bringing us or causing us or inspiring us or motivating us to act from a place of just this higher spiritual wisdom and understanding. A desire to be of service to others may be very strong in this energy based on this elevated spiritual connection and some type of genuine altruism that we may be like overflowing with at this point in time. Spiritual motivation, very much so driving actions in terms of this first octave of the way this energy may be presenting itself. This spiritual awakening, Jupiter having recently left the sign of Pisces and now Mars being there with Neptune as well, like I said, could be changing in one way our self-perception, our beliefs, our actions, our passions, and our behaviors in one way or another. We may also find ourselves fighting for peace or fighting for our spiritual truth, especially again with with the moon today in the sign of Sagittarius, ruled by Jupiter in Aries, which is about these personal truths. And at this point in time, it's about these personal spiritual truths as well, because of everything that has been going on with Jupiter as of late. And, we're talking about Mars. Mars brings up aggression and a desire to really fight for something in a lot of cases. And we could be sort of fired up to fight for peace again in this energy in Pisces with Neptune, or some type of surrender, some type of mediation, some type of compromise as well in this energy. But there could definitely be this driving spiritual awakening energy that is sort of pushing us to fight for what we perceive is right in this energy. With the moon in Sagittarius as well, I do feel like beliefs and passions, especially with Jupiter in Aries right now, could be driving a lot of this as well, like I've already mentioned. And we really need to be careful if we find ourselves operating more out of this particular octave of this energy. We want to be careful that we are not feeling compelled to become a martyr in any type of a way. A martyr complex can definitely come up in Mars Neptune energy, as it just breaks down the ego and can just give us this huge desire to, just serve from this place of genuine altruism and compassion and empathy and open-heartedness. And as a result of that, we may sort of neglect our own well-being in this energy. Okay, so if we feel that we are sort of more leaning towards this particular octave of this energy, we just want to be sure that we are not going overboard in the giving and the serving to our own detriment. Okay, the other way that this energy could operate, and now if we do, fall victim to this martyr complex in this energy, it could sort of lead into this next octave that it has a tendency of also operating when we have Mars and Neptune coming together. Because remember, we're also talking about the sign of Pisces right now, which is also a very dualistic sign. On one hand, it is very, very spiritually aware and connected. But on the other side, it can have a very strong desire and tendency to hide from things, to run away from things, and to avoid things as well. So on, the one hand, the spiritual warrior archetype really motivating our behavior, driving our actions, and causing us to really want to be the best version of ourselves and just serve, care for, and, protect the people that we may feel are weaker than us in one way or another. But then on the flip side of this, it can really bring up some self-delusion and opportunities to be spiritually manipulated, actually. It can bring up a tendency to feel this internalized sense of irritation or aggression or anger that we can't find the rational root of, that we just can't rationalize or really understand why we're feeling like that in one way or another. It can have us fighting our own unconscious self-image or our own self-projection. Again, bringing up this inner conflict that could be going on, and also the projection of others. Projection is very strong in this energy, you guys. So is the potential for gaslighting, cognitive dissonance, and a lot of mind games can go on when we have Mars and Neptune together. It can be very deceptive, very manipulative. Feelings of weakness. This is also very feeling-based energy, because even though we're talking about Mars, which rules our energy body, this is happening in the sign of Pisces, right with Neptune, who is a ruler of Pisces. So there's a very, very strong emotional, feeling-based nature to this energy. And it can be because Neptune breaks down the ego and breaks down our physical energy levels, our energy body ruled by Mars. It can also produce feelings of weakness, inadequacy, inferiority complexes of all kinds, feeling discouraged, feeling incapable, insecure. Depression can definitely come up with this as well, and just generally feeling unmotivated. We may in this energy feel like we've lost ourselves somehow because, again, of this breakdown of the ego that Neptune has a tendency of doing in combination with Mars. And our ego is our personal identity. This is also Pisces, a sign ruling loss. So we may feel as though we are losing touch with our identity in one way or another in this energy as well. Mars and Neptune together, this can also be our intuition being blocked in some type of a way by our ego. And again, that can bring us right back to this self-delusion and the opportunity for spiritual manipulation in some type of a way. Because when our intuition is blocked by a weakened ego, it can make us very easily manipulated, very susceptible to manipulation based on any ideals or delusions that we may be operating under in this energy. People in this energy may have a tendency to take advantage of and feed a weak ego in another to benefit themselves. That is something that I have seen actually personally in this type of energy. This is also energy, you guys, that is prime for like cult leaders, false prophets, and that type of stuff, playing on these ideals, this weakened ego, this confusion, and beliefs, and a desire for this spiritual truth and spiritual connection that is also simultaneously very strong in this energy to steal this power for themselves. This is people are seeking for connection in this energy a lot of times, but not recognizing their own connection and strength and power internally. And therefore, and also, feeling a sense of like weak ego, where again, we're questioning our identity and questioning our ability and questioning our capabilities in this energy. And as a result of that, a lot of times it can make us just like pray for people who are projecting some type of image of spiritual superiority that we feel that we can, grasp onto or utilize to try to regain a sense of that within ourselves. But ultimately, it can end up with us being manipulated, deceived, taken advantage of for the purpose of empowering the ego of that other individual. So like I said, cult leaders and false prophets, we want to be very, very careful in this energy of offers that are being made now and things just appearing like a little too good to be true, a little over the top, somebody telling us, saying all the right things in all the right ways that makes us feel what we feel that we need to feel, and then like grasping onto that, okay? Be very careful of that in this energy. And this energy can also bring up, because of the nature of Mars and Neptune, a sense of perhaps some people really aggressively fighting to maintain some type of an illusion or some type of a delusion that they are operating under. So all of these things, these two very distinct polarities, sort of on one hand, this magnified sense of spiritual truth and spiritual connection that is causing us to really operate out of our highest octaves of our heart and ourselves, and really from this very selfless place, want to care for, serve, and offer just compassion, empathy to others. We got to be careful of being taken advantage of, though. On the other hand, because this energy has a tendency of breaking down our own sense of our personal spiritual connection, it has a tendency to have us just seeing ourselves through a very like illusionary or delusional perspective that can have us like wanting someone else to restore the hope, the trust, the faith, and the like capability and the power within us internally. So we just really want to be careful that we are not seeking external power sources to make up for any type of lack that we feel inside perhaps in this energy. And we should not attach to any of these feelings really that we have going on in this energy, because they're just not clear. They're just not real. Like, this is just not a very clear depiction of our true self, of our true identity when we have Neptune and Mars coming into alignment like this. Now, I do feel ultimately, you guys, in this energy, because especially of Jupiter's placement in Aries for this right now, and also having the moon in Sagittarius, that this aspect at the end of the day is helping us to break through personal illusions and delusions. We also have the square aspect going on, which is asking for a breakthrough into some type of progress in one way or another. But I do feel that ultimately, regardless of what comes up, the driving force cosmically, galactically of this energy is to help us break through these personal illusions or delusions that may be operating in terms of our own capabilities. Jupiter ruling freedom of truth in Aries, the sign of the self, again, right after having made this very important Jupiter-Neptune conjunction that is a fundamental aspect of this entire year that is carrying us through, that is unfolding, that is bringing us the spiritual renaissance. And ultimately, as I've said, I think this is the third time now, I do feel that this aspect is operating to help us break ourselves free from any of these self-limiting beliefs or negative perceptions of ourselves or delusional perceptions of ourselves as well that we may have been operating under. Now, this is also because this aspect, this conjunction is happening at 25 degrees of Pisces. That Sabian symbol, you guys, is the purging of the priesthood. So with the conjunction happening at this exact degree, this is a breakdown of our own delusions that steal or that have been stealing our personal power and keeping us from seeing our own truth. The purging of the priesthood, breaking down, purging, releasing, clearing, rectifying belief systems that have been keeping us out of touch with our own power and with our own personal truth and with our own personal spiritual connection. All of these things that Jupiter is representing right now in the sign of Aries, while we have the Sag moon ruled by Jupiter, pointing directly to Mars in conjunction with Neptune today. So with this happening at the purging of the priesthood degree and with Jupiter in Aries as well, and that Sag moon and the square, this could be some very difficult energy that we are operating under right now, but it is for the purpose, again, ultimately of helping to dispel any type of an illusion regarding ourselves that we have been operating under that has been keeping us from seeing the truth of our own power and moving forward in alignment with that potential that that power represents. So that's what we have, going on in terms of this aspect personally, I'm feeling. Now, if we extrapolate it outward a little bit and just talk about, some basic tendencies that can also be associated with this aspect, this can also definitely bring lower levels of physical energy. And this week, you guys, we are going to want to be very careful not to overdo it, not to be too hard or demanding on ourselves, especially in terms of like physical activities, because it can also open an opportunity. Our health can be a little bit, weaker in this energy as well, just because Mars is ruling our energy body and our physical vitality and stuff like that. And with Neptune, it can get a little bit broken down, and resting, meditating, that type, yoga, maybe some more stuff like that is sort of the way that we want to be using our physical energy in this specific energy. This aspect as well, Mars and Neptune together in the sign of Pisces specifically, may have us more prone to infections and also breakouts of different kinds and outbreaks. Generally, breakouts, outbreaks, and infections may just be more likely in this energy, because especially maybe perhaps in regards to like the skin and stuff like that as well, because Pisces can have a tendency of ruling like diseases and infections and stuff like that, and Mars as well. And Mars also rules heat. And so this can definitely bring out some type, of infectious outbreaks or just breakouts. Generally, you might find your face breaking out a little bit or something like that. And if you do, and it's a little abnormal for you, I would definitely put the blame for that on this aspect that we have going on in the sky right now. So I wanted to mention that as well. Prone to just some more weaker health maybe. And so, but it's not like something that is like set in stone. It's more like if we're not taking care of ourselves, if we are neglecting our physical body, that's another thing. Mars and Neptune together, because Mars would rule the physical body, like the physical component of stuff, like the self. And Neptune, it dissolves that and it like breaks that down. And so with these two planets together, if we are neglecting or avoiding our own physicality, our own physical health, that is really when we may experience these problems. But if we know this in advance and we're taking extra measures to care for ourselves and to not avoid our physicality in this energy, then that is not something that is generally necessarily going to be an issue. But definitely wanted to bring that up. Self-care is crucial in this energy at this time. We do not want to be exhausting ourselves. Fights, you guys, too. Mars ruling fights, aggression, conflict. We also have the square going on between the moon and Sag, and this aspect, this conjunction of planets in Pisces. And there's lots of fire energy going on, you guys. We got Jupiter in Aries. We got Venus in Aries as well. The moon in Sag is actually going to be forming a trine to Venus in Aries today. Sag is, of course, a fire sign. Mars, of course, is the fire planet. So there's lots of very heated energy going on today as well. And this could be triggering and bringing up fights. Specifically, I feel like it's going to be in regards to truth and beliefs, deception that may have been going on. This could also be in regards to oil and fuel ruled by Neptune and Pisces. This could also bring up or create a greater likelihood for like floods or some very strong like rainstorms, like water, like hurricane type water storms and stuff like that with this energy. And it could also have us again fighting what we have to let go of right now, or what we're losing, like fighting against letting go of something or losing something, or again, fighting to maintain perhaps the sense of delusion, or fighting to free ourselves from some type of delusion and align with that personal truth as well, something that we could be experiencing in this energy. The next thing that I want to bring into this whole little picture that we're painting today is Mercury retrograde. We have Mercury retrograde right now as well, you guys. With Mercury retrograde, Mars in a conjunction to Neptune, the moon in Sagittarius forming the square to Mars in a conjunction to Neptune, we only want to be taking action if it is based on solid fact. And in this energy, solid fact may be a little bit hard to decipher and to differentiate from illusion and BS. So there's a word of caution there as well. With Mercury retrograde, we only want to act if it is based in solid fact in this energy. And it is not the time, you guys, it is not the time for investments, for choices, for decisions, or for commitments, because there is just this energy of perhaps just some deceptive offers or things not being exactly how they appear. And there's just this sense of self-delusion or false projections, false images being presented as well in this energy. So not the time, and especially with Mercury retrograde in the midst of all of this, to make these investments, these choices, these decisions, these commitments. Right now, we need to be putting our action towards figuring out our own personal truths and cutting ourselves free from any deception or illusion in regards to our own selves that we may have been operating under, that was separating us from our own spiritual connection or from our own like conscious understanding of our authentic truth of ourselves. Mars in a conjunction to Neptune, you guys, this can also create some very passive aggressive energy and people denying reality, essentially. That's why I said earlier, like gaslighting in this particular energy, very, very, very highlighted, strong, indicated. Cognitive dissonance, very strong and indicated. Projection, very strong and indicated. And that projection is likely to be of a false image of compassion, love, empathy, savior complexes as well. Like, that's the thing. We don't want to fall prey in this weakened ego energy to feeling as though we need someone to save us, you guys, because that is how we set ourselves up for some very harsh lessons in this energy. And we are in a time of karmic clearing, you guys. So we do best in this energy to be very conscious as we possibly can in terms of our actions, our decisions, what we're saying, what we're not saying, what we are emotionally reacting and responding to, and what we are being motivated to do as a result of that. We don't want to find ourselves seeking an external savior. This is the purging of the priesthood, you guys. This is about coming back in touch with our own personal truths, our own personal spiritual connections, not feeling a sense of weakness and lack of connection internally that seeks us to that causes us to seek out some type of external spiritual savior, especially. That is how these cult leaders and these false prophets come to prominence, sort of, in this energy that we have going on. So definitely wanted to mention that, and people may be really like gaslighting in some situations today, acting like something is going on that is not going on, like totally distorting reality in some type of a way and going with it as if it's the truth. It could be a little bit of crazy making energy that we have going on today. And it is very important as a result of that, you guys, to pay attention to people's actions and not their words, especially with Mercury retrograde right now. And as we are paying attention to those actions, we want to look out for deceptiveness in those actions as well, because deceptive actions, deceptive words, preying on the more victim state of people in this energy is definitely a word of caution, okay? Again, this is pushing us to see ourselves clearly, to dispel the illusion of the own truth of our personal power and of our own spiritual connection, instead of seeking that externally from others at this point in time. Next thing that I want to say just is about this square that we have going on from the moon in Sag to this Mars-Neptune conjunction that we have in Pisces. This could again be bringing up some of this inner and therefore outer conflict, and also like that is just sort of like irritating us, or that is just like bringing a sense of frustration, or again, this depression or like confusion very much as well. We want to, inner conflict based on that type of stuff could definitely be coming up today. Again, this represents these fights. This is a square. This is the 90-degree angle. It brings tension, conflict, like internalized frustration. Mars emphasis today, this could definitely be bringing up some anger. And again, like these fights may be breaking out today as well, and just tensions generally. Actively avoiding truth may be another big indicator of this. The moon in Sagittarius, ruled by Jupiter, ruling truth, forming the square to Mars and Neptune in Pisces, which already can have on one hand a tendency to avoid the truth and to actively avoid having to engage in truth, like to actively fight to maintain some type of an illusion or some type of a delusion. This could be definitely one of the things that is bringing up these conflicts, say actively avoiding truth, and also a desire for truth being sort of at odds with some type of deception that we may be discovering in this energy as well. Feelings of confusion, things not making sense. Also Mercury retrograde, the moon in Sagittarius, forming this square to Mars and Neptune in this state perhaps of some type of self-delusion, like things just not adding up, things not making sense. But on the other hand, you guys, we are purging the priesthood. So there is just as strong a likelihood that we're seeing through that BS in this energy, that we are seeing through the deception, that we are seeing through the lies. It's almost like on one hand, like they can be so extreme. Jupiter also in the sign of Aries right now, so overblown, so over the top, so exaggerated, so like overplayed and over dramatized that we're like, I may have believed that if you had brought it down like 5 notches, but at this level that you're acting this out right now, like there is no way, like I can't, I can't see the truth in this. All I see is the deception and the manipulation, like that type of thing as well. Like we may actually be seeing the truth through illusions, through such an exaggerated illusion or manipulation or like deceptive play that is going on in one way or another. Like people could be really, 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 really like going over the top in trying to manipulate or deceive or like falsely project this image of purity and peace and love and compassion and empathy, and we're just like not buying it and seeing through. So, there are these very two distinct octaves of this way this energy could be operating. And, ultimately, taken to an extreme, they both begin to feed into each other because that's what octaves of energy do. And purging of the priesthood, ultimately, we are breaking down our own delusions to align with our own personal power and spiritual truth. And we are seeking to align with personal truth and personal desires without the need to be validated by others. That's another aspect of this. We are in with the moon in Sagittarius, also forming the trine to Venus today in Aries. Yeah, seeking to align with that personal truth and the personal desires that we are discovering right now as a result of this personal truth without needing that external validation from others anymore at this point in time. With Jupiter in Aries, this is again that return to personal truth. Now, Venus today ruling this Taurus cycle that we're in right now and ultimately ruling everything that is going on in this energy. She's at 18 degrees of Aries today, again in Mars's sign. So even if we look at, you guys, the ruler of this entire Taurus cycle that we're in right now, she is also in the sign of Aries, throwing it right back to Mars. So all of the emphasis today, you guys, is on that aspect. But Venus is at 18 degrees of Taurus today, or of Aries. That Sabian symbol is an empty hammock stretched between two trees. And so, you know, I feel like the overall guidance from Venus at this degree in regards to all of this Mars-Neptune business today is there may be some internal unrest going on. Nobody's resting in that hammock. It's an empty hammock, and it's suspended between two trees, suspended between perhaps the past and the future, or two options, or two choices, or polarities, or decisions. We may feel as though there's some sense of internal unrest going on today because we are caught between two opposing octaves of something. Same as this energy that's presenting, two polarities, two like differentiating viewpoints, two choices or decisions, and not knowing really which to do. But generally unrest maybe definitely coming through in the vibe today as a result of being caught in between in one way or another. A hammock, an empty hammock stretched between two trees. So wanted to mention that as well, you guys, but that's pretty much what I have to say for our energy that we have playing out today. And again, you know, we have to think of this, of course, as well in the context of our transition of ages right now, our shift of paradigms from the age of Pisces into the age of Aquarius, this breakdown of the past, this rebirth into the new. And right now, what is up for that is our ego, you guys. We are gaining a true understanding of who we really are. And, you know, depending on how much work we've done at this point, depending on how much karma we've cleared, depending on how much inner healing we've done, I feel like this is definitely going to have an impact on how we're experiencing these energies and what illusions of ourselves we are willing to face and to heal from and heal through and release and see through at this point in time, or what delusions or illusions of ourselves we are fighting to maintain in this energy. So, that's what we got, you guys. That's what I have to say about this day that we have going on and this Mars-Neptune conjunction that is a fundamental, again, of this entire week. Now let's talk about the tarot cards for a minute, you guys. Tarot time. Shuffling the deck this morning, asking God, Spirit, Universe, please give me some symbolism to clarify what is going on with the collective right now in this energy that we have playing out. And I feel actually like this message that came out is right on point in terms of the Mars, Neptune, and everything that I've been talking about so far. So the first card that we had coming out of the deck is the Eight of Cups. Then we had the Four of Swords. Then we had the Two of Swords in reverse. Then we had the Two of Pentacles, choices, decisions, you guys. And then on the back of the deck, we had the Page of Cups, offers. So what I feel like this is saying when we put all of these cards together, the Eight of Cups, this is about turning our back and walking away from something that we loved, something that has provided us a sense of safety and security and nourishment and fulfillment in the past, but is just like no longer serving us anymore at this point in time. So, you know, this may be turning our back on something that has carried us a long way that can no longer take us any further in some type of a way. But I'm also seeing this card is sort of walking away at this point in time, taking a rest, meditating on like not like the four of swords. This is a card of taking a pause, taking a rest, and walking away from what we're not seeing clearly, any type of delusion or false image or illusion that we have been operating under that has been keeping us blind and unable to make a choice or decision. These two cards, the Two of Swords and the Two of Pentacles, these cards are both about making decisions. The Two of Swords, this is about having to make like a blind choice, or not having all the information, or feeling like, we can't make a choice because we can't see clearly what is going on. And, with it being in the reverse, I feel like this is saying this is not the time for making a decision because we are blindfolded, because we're not seeing clearly, because we don't have all the information. And therefore, the choices and the options, the decisions that we are juggling right now are not like as they appear. I feel like these cards in combination, there's so many ways that we could read, cards. The symbolism can be applied in so many different ways, but just the way that these cards came out today, I feel like this is specifically referencing needing to sort of walk away and take a pause from the things that are troubling us right now, from the decisions that we need to make, because we are not seeing it clearly. We don't have all the information. We don't have all the answers. Mars is conjunct Neptune. Mercury's retrograde. It's not the time to take action moving forward. It is the time to sort of take a break, take a pause, meditate, like rest, sleep perhaps, and really like allow ourselves to come to a better alignment within our own selves before we try to take any action moving forward. Because right now, what is on the back of the deck is the Page of Cups. This is some type of like small offer. And in this energy, this could be an offer of some type of illusion, some type of a delusion, some type of a false projection. We do not want to be taking this offer right now, you guys, the Page of Cups. We do not want to be taking this Page of Cups offer from this place of lack of clarity in decision making, when universe is specifically telling us right now that we need to sort of walk away, turn our back on pursuing those choices at this point in time, and really use this point in time as a period of self-reflection, self-analysis, and just essentially like taking a bit of a break from the need to really drive this thing forward, or again, jumping headfirst into any type of action right now, which, we may see or perceive as a cup that is going to fill that gap or that hole or that void in our soul and give us exactly what we need to feel whole and good and know who we are again. But if you look at this card, you guys, there's a fish in the cup. That's not even, somebody may be presenting us some type of option that seems really great and everything looks beautiful on the surface, but when you look a little closer, you realize that there's actually a fish in that cup, and it's not going to do anything for you, and it may actually just be serving and benefiting the person trying to get rid of the fish in one way or another. So we, based on this reading and based on these cards that came out today, you guys, I feel like this is emphasizing the need to do some personal reflection, get in touch with our own personal truths, walk away from anywhere we have been surrendering our power, or from situations, walk away. Look at the 2 cup cards that we had coming out were the 8 of Cups and the Page of Cups with the fish in the cup. We need to walk away, you guys, from these offers that may be coming in right now that may be not what they appear in this energy, and pause and reflect so that we don't make some type of spontaneous choice, decision, action. That actually, the card that came out under that was the Tower. That really turns our world upside down in some type of a way. So that is the message from the tarot cards today as well, you guys. And like I said, I really feel like that fits right in very well with the message that came through that's coming through in the astrology, with these aspects playing out in this Mars Neptune conjunction operating in the sky. So let's draw one more piece of guidance that can help us in this energy today, you guys. These are little messages. And we already got one coming out, and I feel like this is an important message for us to hear today. These cards are by Janice Shellman, and I always feel like they just give us like the last little bit that can help us as we're navigating these energies. And it says, love equals respect. And that is definitely something to keep in mind in this energy, where people may be presenting this false image of love, altruism, compassion, empathy, and all of that, but in their actions may not necessarily be demonstrating that to the same extent. Love equals respect. The children of this world are given in marriage, Luke 20:34. God is love, and when true love in the heart unites a man and a woman, it is God joining a couple. When difficulties and arguments occur, dissolve the problem in the light of of God's love. Love, goodwill, and understanding are the keys to all human understanding. Respect one another. Refusing to treat one another with respect will cause more harm than any other act. And so in the midst of all this energy that is unfolding today, all this perhaps more like tumultuous vibes, more conflicting, fighting, aggressive maybe vibes that we have going on, or not even aggressive, maybe like passive aggressive and people like avoiding what needs to be resolved in this energy as well. This is saying that we need to hold to and operate under the understanding that love is respect and try to conduct ourselves that way, again, out of this higher octave of the Neptune Mars energy. However, not to the point of becoming a martyr that brings us back to the lower octave of this energy and may set us up for this more victim complex that allows us to be preyed upon by others who are using this energy differently. So that is what we have, you guys, for the report today. Love equals respect. Mars conjunct Neptune. Big energy this week. So I hope you guys liked it. I hope I was able to provide something for you that can give you some clarity and help you in whatever way you need as you're navigating the energy today. If you guys did like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel. Share it with your friends if you think they would be interested. Leave me comments, you guys. I truly love and appreciate your comments. I love hearing your feedback. I love knowing how these aspects are affecting you. I appreciate each and every one of you so much. I'm so glad you're here. I really love you guys. I have a Facebook page, a Facebook group, a website, and some more social media stuff. Those are in my description box below. Come back with me tomorrow, you guys. We're going to have more energy to talk about. We'll have day 2 of this same aspect. We're kind of like in the full force of it today. Tomorrow it will still be very present, but it's going to start waning out as we get through this week. So we're getting the brunt of it now. We'll have more to talk about tomorrow. I will be here. You should be here too. You don't want to miss it. Have a beautiful day, everybody, and I will see you then. Bye, guys.